What's up, guys? I'm Alex.
I'm Kaylee.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Cass.
And welcome to the Gaming Table. And this is a weekly video game discussion show where the host and the topic changes each week. And today we're going to start off with something interesting, at least I think. It's going to be Cyberpunk 2077. Cyberpunk 2077 was one of the most highly anticipated games of the decade, maybe in gaming history, and it's developed by the same people that did the Witcher series, which is really famous for being a really good game, good narrative, good role-playing game. And that company, the developer, is CD Projekt Red. And today, to start things off, I want to talk about how this game came to be and why it's one of the biggest disasters in gaming history. When it launched last year in December of 2020, and all the controversies surrounding how the company handled it, and how this is a pretty good insight into how the gaming industry is and how everything works. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds good. I remember when this was happening.
Yeah, they hit the news kind of.
Yeah, because I did play The Witcher and really liked it. So I heard they were making a new game. Like you said, I mean, it was the hype was insane. I was like, okay.
Did you think it would be the same format and the same kind of game, but just in the future as a setting?
For sure, yeah. Because The Witcher is a fantasy game, and this is sci-fi. So I was like, okay, The Witcher, but just sci-fi Witcher. That's cool. Sure, why not?
And you saw Keanu Reeves on the trailers.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw, but it was on TV, I think. It was actually pretty popular. It was over YouTube, over TV. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember there were TV commercials and stuff trying to advertise for the game, and Keanu was the face of the game.
Yeah, he is also one of the main characters in the game. At least he's always in the game. Mm-hmm. So that really helped.
Do you like Keanu Reeves?
Oh,
he's an actor. He plays John Wick.
Oh, really?
And he's a real movie actor, and he's in this video game.
And also, have you seen the Matrix series?
No.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, you have to Well, if you don't know, the game is actually based off of a role-playing game, a tabletop role-playing game called the same name. Well, it's just called Cyberpunk.
Like a board game.
Yeah, Dungeons and Dragons, stuff like that. And the name of the creator is Mike Pondsmith, and he is actually part of the consulting team starting in 2012. And that's also when the game started development. So it's been 8 years. So, and since you've never heard of the game or played the game it's a first-person shooter, role-playing game, open world thing.
Okay, so how many words he said make sense to you?
And what is role playing in video games?
So you want to?
Sure, it's when you're just taking the role of a person,
character.
And you build out
there.
their
The storyline isn't linear. There's different path of a story. That's why it's like a tabletop game. There's multiple paths you can take as the character in the game.
It's if you're controlling a character in a detective movie,
gotcha.
But you have to decide where you're gonna go to find them.
And the ending can be you find a killer, or you get killed, or you never find a killer, or you find a killer and you let him go because he did it for a good reason, stuff
you're
like that.
You're making the story as
So the huge hype for the game could be traced back to the initial announcement from May of 2012, and then following that, the reveal trailer in 2013, January of 2013, that actually now has 24 million views on YouTube. So there's a lot of hype even back then, because people have been wanting a game like this forever. The hype for the game really peaked during E3 at 2018. E3, if you didn't know, it's a really big gaming event where all the developers and companies go and reveal their next big thing. At E3 they showed a new trailer of amazing graphics and the game mechanics that you can do all these crazy stuff with your body enhancements and stuff like that. And Also, like it shows off the adaptation of the original Cyberpunk lore from the tabletop game, and obviously the huge open world Night City, which is the main setting for the game, but all this kind of fell apart in 2020 when, as you know, COVID hit and there's a global pandemic, and CD Projekt Red being in, they are in Poland, they're a Polish company, but obviously they went through the same things we went through, and they actually had to work on this AAA game at home. Most of the employees went home to work on the game, and also with all the pressure from their investors since 2012 to release a game that same year brought a lot of pressure on them because the investors really wanted to see their money come back, and also that what didn't help, but what was a really cool thing about the marketing but didn't help in the end was Keanu Reeves. Mm-hmm. He was at E3. He actually went to E3 on stage, did a whole speech, did a whole presentation about the game, and that got like fans going crazy because it's like a big name actor advertising or being the face of a video game, which is now becoming more popular, but before it was like not a thing. And he actually plays a major role in the actual game, one of the main characters actually. And so it's like almost unheard of, like in the video game industry. So well, what do you think, Cass? Since you never really delve into the video game industry, like like how there's big names, marketing for.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool that they have actors in a video game.
And I mean, it's being a pretty popular thing now. A lot of video game characters are actually based off of models that's modeled from real actors and actresses because they do face tracking for when they're talking and the movements. So they actually get the real actors and actresses in the studio with a suit on and actually track their face and everything. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's really.
I'm sure they did something similar with Keanu Reeves too, and like I said, I don't think it helped because he really hyped it up. And when the game came out, it was such a huge flop that I think Keanu Reeves was. I mean, he was obviously paid for it, but I don't think it did well for him and his reputation as well. And I don't know if he got hurt from it or not, but yeah.
The feeling of being there, of walking the streets of the future, is really going to be breathtaking. You're breathtaking.
So after 8 years of long and insane hype, in December 2020, the game finally came out, and the fans got to play the game that they've been wanting for so long. And there were like several red flags already. So the game came out. Obviously, it felt rushed. There was it was like the most crashes and bugs out of any game, in a while. And like it became like an internet meme overnight because how buggy it was. I don't know if you've ever seen all the YouTube videos and all the stuff.
Well, that's what made me not want to buy the game.
Yeah.
I saw everybody was like, I can't play this.
I'm sad to say I'm one of the people that actually bought the game at launch because I was so hyped. This is like my type of game. I really wanted this to work, and I was sad that it didn't work out the way it was supposed to be. So the main thing was, so I have an Xbox One, which is considered last gen now, but they promised optimization for all last gen consoles, but it wasn't. It was not even close. Like the game was pretty much unplayable on your last gen Xbox Ones and PS4s, and it got so bad that Sony even took the game off the PlayStation Store until recently after like 20 updates and apologies and stuff like that. But as you can tell, like fans were like mad. They were furious after paying full price for a game that came out like barely playable. There's nothing that would piss off a gamer more than making them pay for something that doesn't work. So another thing about the optimization, people were really mad about that because the game was originally teased back in 2012. Or they were promised to release the game back then, and this is before the last gen consoles were even out. So this is because the Xbox One came out in 2013 and PS4 around that time too. So this is a game that was developed and meant to work on those consoles. And now it comes out that it barely even works on the PS5 and your Xbox Series X and stuff. Only the PC players really got to see the cool graphics and stuff like that, but even for them it was still almost unplayable. And after all the huge backlash and people pissed off, the developer had to actually release an apology statement in the January of 2021, a month after the release. And the co-founder of CD Projekt Red, his name is Marcy Iwinski, yeah, cool name, but he actually had to speak in a YouTube video personally apologizing to the fans, which is like, if you ever seen the video, it's really sad. Like, I felt bad for him, even though they really messed up. And he even said, he asked the community for forgiveness, and he explained the situation a little bit, saying, he even said not to blame the workers, not to blame the employees, that it was him and the board that ultimately made the decision to release the game the way it was. So I don't know how most people felt about that. I felt bad. I felt really bad. It was heartbroken, definitely, and especially coming from the developers that made the Witcher series, like how those are like great games and they really like, came a long way. So what do you guys think? What do you think about an apology though? Like, do you think an apology is good, bad, like?
I mean, I don't know about you, Caleb, but like I've never seen that happen before. Like in a video game.
Yeah, I mean a lot of this game is, it kind of made history. It was like one of the most sold video games during launch, or most pre-orders. And it was also one of the worst games ever launched.
So Cass, you've never purchased a video game before.
Mm-hmm.
How much do you think one costs?
I know they're expensive because my brother plays them, so maybe like around 70.
Yeah. 60, like just $59.99 is the same price, but it's 70 if you want to pay for like the extra cool editions.
Yeah, they always come with extra stuff that you can pay more for.
And I think there are like editions you can buy. It's like with cool like little gadgets that they can give you and stuff like that.
So like imagine paying that much money for this game that you've been wanting to play forever.
Pre-ordering, like you pay months in advance, hoping for the game to come out. So you already paid before, and they definitely banked on that. Like they made so much money. Like it was millions and millions of dollars. But they actually offered refunds at launch because there's so many people getting mad about it, and I think it was specific for the last-gen consoles.
Yeah.
You can get a refund on questions asked, and now I mean that's like unheard of in the industry.
Yeah.
So the game after launch got constant updates after release. So they developed it. They know what they did, so they're trying to fix it. Even the same week after it launched, there was big updates to attempt to fix the issue. But and so from the first week to even today, throughout all 2021, all the way up to like a few weeks ago, there was an update I think, and some of the updates were like more than 20 gigs. Like it doesn't overhaul the game, but it's like a lot of small fixes all packed together, and they're working like day and night trying to fix the game that they released broken. So at least they're trying, but this is a product of a trend that's been going on in the video game industries for a while now. Since with technology nowadays, with video games, everything's online. You can buy a game online, and the developers can update the game after you've gotten like even years later. Like Rainbow Six Siege, like I think they're still updating that game. GTA 5, people are still playing it and updating the game, and even some AAA companies like that does stuff like Call of Duty. So they do a seasonal thing now, like Fortnite used to do.
Yeah.
That started the whole thing. So there'll be an update like every season, which is like every month or something,
Maybe
like that.
Yeah, 5, 6 years maybe.
Yeah, and then they'll like completely overhaul the game sometimes, like change the entire Warzone map or do something different, or integrate Cold War into, Warzone, stuff like that. So this is good that gamers can buy a game and then like a year later the game would be completely different, which is pretty cool content wise. It keeps the game updated and fresh for people. But so this has like a huge downside, I think, that developers can get lazy and they can release a game unfinished. So if they have a deadline coming up, they can get lazy and not finish the game or delay the game, and release it and then rely on updates to finish it. And this spawned the whole day one updates of games. Like you have to buy a game, and the second you put it in the console, there's a day one update you have to update that apparently adds the stuff that's not in the game that should have been in there. Mm-hmm. But it gives them more time to finish the game, which I think is not a good thing. But I know the upsides from that is really good as well. So after the insane hype for this game, like never seen before in the industry, thanks to the great marketing, Keanu Reeves, so it kept people excited for the game for like almost a decade. And with the combination of COVID, the rush timelines for investors, like they want the money back, and then the bad trends set in the industry that lets them get away with releasing a game unfinished, made Cyberpunk one of the most anticipated game of the 21st century, if I say so, and the most oversold and most under-delivered game at the same time. So I have like two final questions. So do you think this is the developer's fault, like or the fans to blame for too much, like way too hyped about the game and that they pre-order it and everything? And this is a record seller at launch, and does the industry have the best interests of the gaming community, or are they just here to make money? Because I mean, the game is in a better, like much better state now with all the updates, and like I said, even from like a few weeks ago, and even free DLCs to try to get people, back into playing the game. But the name of the developer, CD Projekt Red, I think will be forever tainted, and there's so much lawsuits and scandals that stuff like that still makes the news today. So, what do you think? What do you guys think about that?
It's wild.
Yeah.
It really is, all of it. That's just crazy how a game can be so, how would I word it? Just like so popular before it's launched for it to just tank. Yeah. Within 24 hours.
There's fan arts. There's role players that does role playing with the characters at like all the big shows and stuff like that before the game came out. There was so much hype. Like I've never seen this much hype for a video game, and it's really cool that it's such a big thing. Like video games like this, or video games in general, or like in major pop culture, mainstream media, stuff like that, which is like unheard of like 10, 15 years ago. Yeah. So, yeah.
I mean, it's like you said, that they announced it 8 years ago. So that's 8 years for people to get excited, and then
somehow didn't die down. It somehow didn't, like the hype didn't die down.
Like as it gets closer to when the game is supposed to come out, then people are well, they announced it, so let's go. I think if they waited until the games were somewhat close to being ready to announce them, then there would not be as long of a wait, which would make the fans even more excited, because it's like, oh, you just announced this game, I can play it next year instead of 8 years from now.
If they waited 8 years, they could wait another year.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
But so do you think the developers and their board of people, whatever, made the wrong decision to release the game?
Yes,
in
without
2020?
question. Yeah.
I mean, I think so too, but yeah. So what do you think as a non-gamer?
I think they should have waited. If it had that much hype and it flopped, that kind of sucks. And I'm pretty sure they lost money from that if they were giving refunds back to their clients.
And lawsuits, which is a big thing. But I mean, I think that I know we all agree that it should have been delayed or whatever. But I think obviously me being one of the fans that ordered the game and played it at launch because I was so hyped for it, I think the fans were also somewhat at fault, because we had such high expectations for a game that we forgot the realities of how that our technology and how things work. And now you think of it, the stuff they were promising, it was almost impossible even today. They promised all this stuff back in 2012, but if somebody came out and said we're gonna do A first-person shooter role-playing game in an open world setting with huge role-playing narratives and stuff like that, and you're gonna have like all these features and mechanics that even today's technology can barely handle, and they really can't handle it today, even in your Xboxes and PlayStations. Like, I think even now it's almost an impossible task to do. So I think the fans like helped the developers overhype this. And I know like getting Keanu Reeves on board and him being one of the main characters didn't help. Like, it's cool, but it didn't help that, because once you get big names and to endorse a product, you're gonna think this is gonna live up to the hype, and it didn't. So I guess it's kind of sad how that's how things work. And I mean, I hope this goes somewhere. Like, I hope the game eventually gets to the point where it's kind of like half of what it's supposed to be. They're still working on it, but I hope they do something with this, and I hope the company does better things in the future. So
yeah, I agree.
Definitely, it's a lot. They've probably learned a lot through this past year.
Yeah. Well, that's it for today's gaming table. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Thanks for watching.